Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generation discussion on the fallout from Boruto chapter 79, and today we need to talk about the biggest elf in the room that cannot be overlooked now that Ada has rewritten reality and erased the memories of everyone about Boruto being Naruto's son and making everyone think that Boruto killed Naruto, which is that Rogue Ninja Boruto is now an even darker story than we might have ever expected for Boruto Part 2, and it's not because in the time skip, if you pay very close attention, he's no longer wearing the necklace that has a screw on it, which is a symbolic gift that's given to him for the fact that he's named in honor of Neji, since Neji is a pun on the word screw and Boruto's a pun on the name Bolt, and now he's no longer Boruto Uzumaki to the world in the time skip. It makes a lot of sense that he no longer has the necklace for the aforementioned reason, because in everyone's memories he was never named after Neji. Now, for as sad as it is, we have to discuss why Boruto being a rogue ninja doesn't just make him Konoha's problem. The entire ninja world is now Boruto's problem, because the people in Konoha, they won't be the only ones who are after him, and there's no place that's truly safe for him right now, and it makes the foreshadowing that we got in the manga feel like it's finally being paid off right now. From the moment that the Kage learned about the Karma Seal, they were skeptical and they were fearful about it as they were being briefed by Katasuke about the powers of the Karma Seal that had been witnessed by Katasuke. And in that moment, very casually, one of them brought up to Naruto, hey, doesn't your son Boruto have that Karma Seal as well? Nothing ever came of it at that time, but we eventually saw it again be brought up in the post-Ishiki fight where Boruto's Karma was front and center once again. The threat of Momoshiki reviving was a central focus of that meeting, and Gar was the first person to make the suggestion that Boruto needed to be killed because the threat of Momoshiki was a very real threat and nobody could stop him. And it's worth noting that the other Kage at that meeting, they didn't say he was wrong when that happened, because each of them took the stance that Hashirama did when he fought against Madara and said that the village came first. Even if it meant Hashirama had to kill his own child, Hashirama said he'd do it. That's the same stance that Minato took when he was offered the chance to let his wife Kushina die alongside with the Nine Tails in order to raise his own son, or on the other hand, he could forfeit his own life to seal the Nine Tails into Naruto, and Minato chose the latter option because, as he said in the manga, his duty as a Hokage was not something he could forsake. Well, as we all know, the only thing that kept Boruto from being killed way back then was that Naruto was right there, and that emotional breakdown that he suffered where he had the panic attack where he raised his hand to his face while Boruto was sleeping in his arms, and the pressure of dealing with the son who was losing his soul to Momoshiki weighing against his duty as a Hokage and everyone telling him he needed to kill Boruto, and his own friend who is someone that his own son looked up to, his friend said he killed Boruto. It led to Naruto having a panic attack. Everyone was telling him what he needed to do as Hokage, but he as a father couldn't bring himself to do it. However, things are very different now. There is no Naruto there to act as a shield for Boruto. Even worse, the entire world right now thinks that Boruto is not even Naruto's own natural born son and thinks that he killed Naruto. They're not going to have a hesitation to think twice about killing Boruto. The situation for why the Kage would want Boruto dead, that has changed, but we're still seeing a payoff for the setup with the Kage thinking it was in their best interest to have him dead. The only thing that changed is the why. I think the other beauty in what we're seeing with this is that it makes Boruto's journey in the anime look so much different right now, and that's before we start factoring in the opening and endings, which that's a video in of itself, because we've seen Boruto in the various parts of the Land of Fire. We've seen Boruto explore the Land of Water and the Hidden Mist Village. We've seen Boruto cross over into the Land of Earth and make his way to the Hidden Stone Village. We've seen Boruto in the Land of Wind near the Hidden Sand Village. The only place we haven't seen him go is to the Land of Lightning, and in particular the Cloud Village. However, the idea of Boruto being unable to head to the places that were once friendly to him and having to go into hiding is something that makes you look at that arc that Boruto's about to undertake with him losing everything. It makes you look at the current events in a much different light now, because you know Boruto, due to how he was being raised, he he took it for granted. It makes a lot of sense. It's the same way his sister Himawari in the anime just casually referred to the Kage coming to Naruto's house when they're in the village, and the fact that Gar would stay there with them whenever Gar visits Konoha. Memories and pleasures that he took for granted, they're all gone right now. There's not going to be any more eating thunder burgers for Boruto now. And what's worse is the fact that the same Kage who Boruto grew up interacting with, they're likely going to have people on watch to hunt down Boruto right now. The very continent that Boruto was raised on, it isn't safe for him anymore, which means you might have a situation where Boruto has to do the one thing that he never likely thought he'd have to do, which is leave off the continent and go to the continent where the land of silence is located and hide there in a land where rogue ninjas and scoundrels are the more common thing that you see. And because it's off continent, Ada won't be as familiar with it when or if she starts trying to track him down with her Senrigan. While I don't think we're going to see the possibility of Boruto mixing it up with any of the Kage or people like Shinki, who were the former rivals who were turned into friends, I do think narratively we have a really amazing opportunity here. Boruto wants to be the Shadow Hokage. He wants to protect the village from unseen threats while being in the shadows himself, but he's never been forced to walk in the shadows and live in the shadows up until this point in time. He's always had a warm bed to return home to, a mother waiting with food ready to cook for him, and a sister drawing those hideous drawings of hers that let you know that art is definitely not in her future. And he had a father who was sending whatever shadow clone that was nearby to check in on Boruto. There is no family there for him right now. There is no home cooked meal. There is no going to get a thunder burger. The only thing that exists for Boruto right now is hiding in the darkness with the hope of never being seen. And for Boruto as a character, it's something he needs. One can't truly step into the role that Boruto desires to be in until they've been forced to move through the shadows for an extended period of time. In the Sasuke Book of Sunrise story, Sasuke says it himself. Because he possessed eyes that once existed in the darkness and gained power in the darkness, he can be the one who enters into that said darkness to serve those who exist in the light in order to help create the future world that Naruto spoke to him about in Naruto chapter 697 and 698, where everyone would work together in the world towards peace. Just as Sasuke on his journey had to learn more about the ninja world and learn more about himself, and including looking into the backstories of the Akatsuki to see if any of them could have been redeemed like he was if they would have had a Naruto Uzumaki there to bat for them. The same thing is true for Boruto right now. He's being forced to move through the dark side of the ninja world in order to emerge from that darkness ready to put things back in order and back in the way that things should be. The idea of Boruto having to hide from the Kage also helps with his character, because what it does is it gives the reader a reason to root for Boruto. Up until now, you've had people who say that Boruto never worked for anything. He never struggled and he learns things so easily, which you all know my stance on why I think that is a horrible take that comes from clout chasing posts on Twitter, ignorant TikToks that don't do any research before they get posted. But perception is reality. Once people have a narrative in their heads about something, it won't be changed unless there is something drastic brought to their attentions. And I think with this latest plot twist that we got just that. A drastic change that now makes Boruto into what fans are more accustomed to when it comes to shonen, and it makes Boruto as a character easier to digest right now for them, because he's now in an underdog role. He's now written into a way to where he's sympathetic in the eyes of many right now, and the reactions to the chapter, it absolutely shows this, where people who were quote sleep on Boruto are reading the chapters to get to the point in the story that we're at right now, or they're saying that they like the character right now, or they like the character better now. Boruto at this very moment has an edge to him that some people felt that he lacked. I think this fugitive Boruto arc is well deserved, and it has the potential to add some spice back into the series, especially with that time skip headed around the corner. It's a great chance to draw back in some of those initial readers who turned away from the manga after the first few manga volumes. And as I said before, I was one of those people. I read the first few chapters, I saw it was a recap, and I said, yeah, I'm just gonna wait until things get better. And I didn't pick the manga back up until I found out Kawaki was in the manga, and then that's when I went back and read all the other chapters. The thing about the reality of Boruto's manga right now is that Boruto currently struggles to crack 120,000 volumes being sold per volume being released. It hasn't sniffed 1 million in annual manga sales for 4 years now. This could be something, if it's done right, that brings back those fans who picked up the first volume, where it sold just under 400,000. Volume 2 saw a drop off, and so did volumes 3 and 4 because nobody was interested in the movie recap. They were like me, they said, I'm good on this. But by then, the narrative on Boruto as a character had already been set in stone, especially once the anime had started. I like this move a lot, and while I don't think that you're gonna get to that full number where it was doing like 500,000 like it did on volume 1, I do think that you got a chance to push the manga back into something that hasn't done in 4 years, which is sell 1 million volumes in total sales. So that will put it around what Black Clover and around what Dragon Ball Super do. If we stick to this Rogue Ninja Boruto arc and the writing moving forward is able to make a great use of conflict. That being said, I'm so curious to know you guys' thoughts on this. What are the things that you want to see the most with this Rogue Ninja Boruto arc? While you think that over, click here to watch my Boruto chapter 79 review.